Now at 10, tips to help make Independence Day easier for veterans with PTSD. Plus, some pet owners turn to a quieter celebration for the holiday. And now one nonprofit in Joplin uses fireworks sales to cultivate strong community members.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Now that July is here, the fireworks have already begun in some communities, and the sound could trigger something unexpected. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Before firing up celebrations for the 4th, you might want to give a heads up to the neighborhood's veterans. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
It's ironic because we celebrate the 4th of July. It's our independence, and in part it's a celebration of our military efforts to secure that independence. And so we all know a veteran, and we think as we're celebrating the 4th of July that it's going to be this really exciting and fun event. But for some veterans, it's not that. It reminds them of when they were in combat.
The loud booms and smell of gunfire can trigger memories or even post-traumatic stress disorder. According to the Ozark Center, 7% of veterans deal with PTSD. Jacob Hefner with the center says fireworks can rekindle painful associations. If the fireworks show becomes too much, he suggests that veterans with PTSD focus on less painful memories linked to the 5 senses.
5 things that they can see, 4 things that they can touch, 3 things that they can hear, 2 things that they can smell, and 1 thing that they could taste. And just by going through that process, they can take the anxiety level that they feel going up and bring it back down.
Hefner also recommends that veterans let their neighbors know if fireworks bother them. And he hopes all of us remember to be aware of the veterans who gave so much to make our celebration of independence possible. Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The Ozark Center has resources for veterans dealing with PTSD. For information, go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. The loud noises that come with Independence Day celebrations might not only be stressful for those with PTSD, but also for animals. The Joplin Humane Society is partnering with Pyro Pennies to host a silent fireworks stand where you can find fireworks that light up and sparkle without the boom. Because more dogs run away during the 4th of July than any other time of year, proceeds from the stand will be used to cover reclaiming fees at the shelter.
The Humane Society is already overflowing, and by the time we get this next influx because of pets running away from the fireworks, you know, it really is great to know that we can reunite them. The Humane Society stand is in Webb City on West 4th Street. It'll be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. through the 4th of July. The Joplin Fireworks Stand benefits people looking for a new start in life. It's run by Joplin's Forge Center for Virtue and Work. Forge Center is a Watered Gardens Ministries program that helps struggling men develop virtue and a strong work ethic. Purchases of fireworks from Forge Center help to fund the program.
Well, we hope this year to net over $10,000, which is enough to put at least one of our students entirely through the program. Like I said, 16 to 18 month long program, and so it costs about $10,000 for one guy to move through it.
Forge fireworks will remain open until 10 p.m. on July 4th. It is only the 1st of July, but the city of Girard, Kansas got a head start on Independence Day. Food trucks and other vendors set up shop at the Crawford County Fairgrounds ahead of a fireworks show tonight.
You know, there's just so much to do for the community. We have free watermelon. Whatke family always donates free watermelon for this event. So there's just so many things you can do that you don't have to pay for. You don't have to be worried about coming out and looking your best. Obviously, I'm a little sweaty at the moment, but it's just fun to come out and enjoy everybody.
You can learn about other upcoming fireworks displays around the area on our website, again, koamnewsnow.com. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be hot for us today. Temperatures warmed up, especially in the afternoon as a warm front passed through. 94 is where we topped out. 72 was our low. Average high is 89 degrees for this time of the year. The record's 102, set back in 1980, and it's still warm. We're in the low to mid to upper 80s across the region. We're only going to drop back into the mid-70s later on tonight. We still have a pretty good heat index, even 91 in Anderson, 96 in Veneta, 96 in Neodesha. It feels like 93 in Parsons. We do have heat advisories in effect once again for us tomorrow, and then excessive heat warning once you get down into northeastern parts of Oklahoma. Had a couple little showers that kind of skirted through earlier today, or earlier this evening. These are gone now. We're going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours. We'll drop back to about 74, but 85 by 10 a.m. More thunderstorms in the forecast, and it gets hotter. We're going to talk about that here in a bit.
Doug, thanks. 7 candidates vie to represent the 2nd congressional district seat of Kansas, and KOAM has questions for all of them. We're going to explain how you can see our interviews with all the candidates in a bit. Plus,
the U.S. Supreme Court hands down a blockbuster decision on presidential immunity. I'm Nicole Skanga outside the High Court with how today's decision impacts the criminal cases against former President Donald Trump.
Former President Donald Trump is hailing today's decision by the Supreme Court on presidential immunity. The High Court ruled that former presidents are immune from criminal prosecution for their official conduct, but not for unofficial acts. Nicole Skanga has the latest on this potentially landmark decision.
The Supreme Court decision marks the first time the justices have ruled that former presidents have substantial immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts. The 6-3 decision along ideological lines does not provide immunity for unofficial acts by a president. For now, the historic ruling extends a delay in the D.C. criminal case against former President Donald Trump, who faces charges he plotted to overturn his 2020 election loss.
That means the chances of a trial before the election are zero at this point.
President Biden spoke about the ruling Monday night.
Today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent.
The district court overseeing the case against Trump must now examine some of the allegations within the indictment to determine whether they fall within the scope of immunity. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote for the conservative majority that the president may not be prosecuted for exercising his core constitutional powers. Justice Sonia Sotomayor blasted the ruling in a scathing dissent, warning that it insulates the commander-in-chief from criminal prosecution, no matter how he uses his official powers.
The Supreme Court did not accept former President Trump's argument that immunity requires the prosecution to be shut down entirely.
On Trump's social media network shortly after the decision was released, he posted, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American." Nicole Skanga, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
President Joe Biden's campaign said in a statement that the Supreme Court's immunity ruling doesn't change the facts about the events of January 6th. Ahead of the Kansas primary in just over a month, KOAM is working to make sure you're informed about candidates for one of the most contested races on the ballot. That is the Republican and Democratic primaries for the 2nd congressional district seat of Kansas. Now, 5 Republicans and 2 Democrats all hope they're going to be their party's nominee for the seat. We sat down with all of them, all 7 of them, asking questions about the economy, abortion, immigration, and more. They're all competing for the seat currently held by Jake LaTurner, who announced he would not run for re-election. You'll find all 7 of those interviews in their entirety, unedited, on our website and the KOAM Plus app for your smart TV. It's almost time for another KOAM flag swap event. Tomorrow we're going to be set up at Arvest Bank at 2023 East 32nd Street in Joplin. It'll be from noon to 1:30. You can stop by during that time to trade in your old tattered American flag and receive a brand new one for no charge, just in time for the 4th of July. We're going to have 100 new flags to hand out. The old ones will be retired according to the U.S. Flag Code, as always. America's Best Restaurants Roadshow made a stop in Fort Scott. Brick Street Barbecue was chosen to be a part of the roadshow and record an episode for their web series. Lunch was open to exclusive guests from 11 to 2 p.m. while the filming of the episode was in progress.
Well, first off, because we are locals, we are born and raised here, we love this community, and then we continue to try to support and be involved in the community as well. And of course, the barbecue itself, of why it fits into Fort Scott, is because there's not another barbecue right now in town, and we really wanted to bring barbecue to Fort Scott and allow others to enjoy the barbecue food as well.
There's no word on exactly when the episode on Brick Street Barbecue will be published, but when it is, you can view it on the YouTube page for America's Best Restaurants Roadshow. The Miami Public Library Youth Department teamed up with the OSU Extension Office to kick off a tasty summer program. The Kick It Up program takes place every Monday at the library. This program features 30-minute cooking lessons designed for teens to learn snack and meal preparations.
And there's 7 weeks of it, so each week, or we can come like multiple times a week, but each lesson builds off each other. So the first one's like washing your hands, especially after the COVID incident and all that, to eating our my plate, so eating vegetables and making sure that we know what vegetables are. Because when I was a kid, I didn't realize how many vegetables and fruits there are that's not just canned.
All supplies are provided for the lesson, and the program is absolutely free. The next class, it's going to be next Monday from 3 to 3:30. A little later, experts explain why drinking plenty of water is the best way to hydrate your body in this extreme heat.
Plus, the heat gets even worse as we go through the next couple days. We're going to look at that coming up.
99 cents.
Well, of course, it turned out to be hot for us today. Temperatures back up into low to mid 90s, and the humidity was on the high side. So, of course, that made it feel very soupy across the region. Here's a nice shot. This is our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, look at our temps. Right now, it's still mid to upper 80s. Kansas, Oklahoma, lower 80s once you get into southwestern Missouri, but our humidity is high. We measure this with our dew points. And when you get into the summer months and dew points get above 70, pushing 75, that's pretty close to the top of the scale. So kind of in that muggy to soupy range. And that's where we're going to sit as we go through the next couple days. A little bit more comfortable on the Missouri side, but still heat indices. Kansas and Oklahoma still sitting into the mid 90s right now. We do have a little bit of a breeze. Southerly wind kind of kicking in at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. These are going to stay kind of breezy tomorrow, and then they'll start to back down a bit by the time we get into Wednesday. All right, heat advisories in effect. Excessive heat warning tomorrow again in northeastern Oklahoma. We had a couple spotty thunderstorms that popped up right along the state line of Kansas and Missouri earlier this evening. These are gone. We're going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours. Any bigger storms are sitting out across the northern plains, but it's that wave that is going to head toward us as we go through the next couple days. All right, let's walk through. Tonight, mid 70s, as we warm quickly through the morning hours into lower 90s by noon. I think most of us 97 to about 100 degrees for highs tomorrow afternoon. Watching thunderstorms to our north tomorrow night, and a few scattered showers and a few scattered thunderstorms are going to get in tomorrow night. And then by Wednesday, we just kind of have hit and miss storms throughout the day. This will keep a lot of clouds in, so temperatures probably cooler into lower 90s, but hit and miss storms and then kind of firing up along the I-44 corridor as we get into Wednesday evening. Another batch of storms move through Wednesday night into Thursday morning, so we're going to have to watch those as well. So at least we're getting some chances for rain, which we definitely need. Day planning for you Tuesday, 76 in the morning, 92 by noon. High temp right around 99 degrees. And if we look at our heat indices, anywhere from about 105 to 112 tomorrow. So they're going to be way up there. Now on Wednesday, it's mainly going to be our southern counties that are 105 to 110. But on Thursday, on the 4th, everybody has heat indices 105 to about 110. So drink plenty of fluids if you are going to be outside over the next several days. 4th of July, let's take a look at it. 92 by noon, 99 by 5, 86 by 10 p.m., but we are going to be dodging some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Let me show you why. Here comes a cold front Thursday evening, bringing in thunderstorms. So we'll have to watch this and get the timing. It's still 3 days away, but we'll watch it closely over the next couple days. But once this pushes through, if you're heading to any of the area lakes or whatever for the holiday weekend, Friday and Saturday actually look pretty good. Alert day tomorrow due to the high humidity, 95 on Wednesday, 99 as we go into the 4th, but only 86 on the 5th.
Wow.
90 on Saturday, pop-up storms again next week.
Yeah, with those storms, timing is everything.
It is.
Some people have some outdoor plans for the 4th of July evening. Thanks, Doug. The oppressive heat wave is affecting millions of Americans. The summer months are a time when lots of people like to be outdoors, but during a heat wave, doctors recommend limiting your time outside and, of course, drink plenty of water. People on average, they say, should drink 64 ounces of water on a normal day. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says if you're exercising or you're working in the heat, drink 8 ounces of water every 15 to 20 minutes. The CDC says it's important to stay hydrated before and after a person's time in the heat. Experts also say stay away from alcohol, caffeinated drinks, and energy drinks as they tend to dehydrate a person. Today, the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks and the Carl Junction Area Chamber of Commerce teamed up for a blood drive. Donors were invited out to give blood and receive a $10 gas card as well as a limited edition beach towel. Event organizers stress their role as the only provider for blood in our area.
We have been around, we'll be 30 years old next year in 25. We are the Community Blood Center. We supply the local hospitals. We are the only group that supplies the local hospitals. We have 45 hospitals that we're responsible for. It's a huge responsibility. We need 200 units of blood every day to meet the need in those 45 hospitals. So this is why it's so critically important.
CBCO also teamed up with Web City for a blood drive today. Still ahead, the Thunder signed a new center on the first full day of NBA free agency, and a former Pitt State Gorilla signs to play professional basketball overseas. John Dale says those stories and more coming up next.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales. A former Pittsburgh State basketball player will be playing professionally overseas. Jeremy Shaw signs a pro contract with KK Alkar of the Premier Liga in Croatia. Now, Shaw spent 2 seasons with the Gorillas. He played in 28 games in the 22-23 season, averaging over 6 points and 2 rebounds. Then this past season, the 6'6" guard averaged upwards of 16 points and 4 rebounds per contest, starting in 20 games. Now, prior to PSU, Shaw played at Detroit Mercy and North Central Missouri Junior College. KK Alkar's regular season begins in late September. As the calendar flips to July, the final month of Mink League baseball is already here. The Nevada Griffins are in action tonight on the road. Griffins in Sedalia, trying to beat the Bombers for the first time this year. They do exactly that. Nevada wins 9-7 on the road. Now, including Saturday's non-league game, the Griffins now have their first winning streak of the summer. They try to stretch it to 3 on Friday at home against the Bombers again. NBA free agency is here. Got started just over 24 hours ago. In the days since teams have been able to negotiate with free agents, several moves have been made across the league, which include the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC signs free agent center Isaiah Hartenstein to a 3-year, $87 million deal. The 26-year-old big man has bounced around the league a bit since being drafted in the 2nd round by the Rockets in 2017. From there, he went to Denver, Cleveland, Los Angeles, then most recently New York. With the Knicks this past season, Hartenstein averaged 7.8 points and 8.3 rebounds. He appeared in 75 games, shot over 64% from the field, and he was one of just 3 players throughout the entire NBA last season to have 85 blocks and 85 steals. Plenty of other big moves throughout the rest of the NBA, one of those being Paul George signing with the 76ers. He signs a maximum contract worth $212 million over 4 years. George joins former league MVP Joel Embiid, All-Star guard Tyrese Maxey in Philadelphia. The 34-year-old 9-time All-Star averaged 23 points and 5 rebounds per game with the Clippers this year. Elsewhere, the Mavericks signed Klay Thompson, who had been with Golden State for 13 seasons. Thompson won 4 NBA championships with the Warriors, but this past season averaged under 18 points per game, his lowest in that category in over a decade. Now, Thompson's 34 years old, according to ESPN. The deal largely motivated by an opportunity to compete for a 5th championship. Speaking of championships, the Celtics, who just won the league title, they signed an extension for their best player, Jason Tatum. He's going to get paid over $62 million a year, largest contract in NBA history. That happens when you win a championship.
$62 million a year?
Yeah, over $314 million over 5 years.
Wow. Pay for a lot of basketball games with that. We'll be right back. So you're going to want to look at this. It's pretty cool. Hundreds of drones lit up the sky over Hong Kong tonight as the former British colony marked 27 years since its return to Chinese rule. The display of 350 drones created various patterns in the night sky, as you see, including the number 27, pandas, dolphins, and more, attracting large crowds of residents and tourists along the waterfront. Britain returned Hong Kong to Chinese rule on July 1st of 1997. Earlier in the day, Hong Kong announced that China was giving the city a pair of giant pandas to celebrate the anniversary. Isn't that an amazing sight?
Pretty cool what drones can do nowadays.
Yeah, and obviously they're orchestrated and coordinated by computers.
Absolutely.
It's going to be even hotter.
It is. It's going to heat up even more tomorrow. Upper 90s to near 100. Heat indices pressing 110 during the afternoon. So an alert day, and then some scattered thunderstorms on Wednesday and Thursday.
Final sports note.
The U.S. men's national soccer team loses that match tonight in Arrowhead. They get knocked out of the Copa America tournament.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.